Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick video saying that I did it. If you remember at the very beginning of this year, I posted a video where I said that I was going to attempt to read at least one graphic novel for every day in January. I also said in that video that I was going to attempt to not buy any graphic novels throughout the month of January, and if you've been keeping up with my channel throughout this month, you do know that I failed in that regard. There was one time when me and my family went shopping out of town, and I wound up getting, I think, 16 graphic novels, very cheap, but I failed in that regard. However, in the other regard, I was able to read one graphic novel at least on every day of the month of January. There were several months where I was able to read two graphic novels, and that was really awesome. So I wanted to take this time to show you guys a little bit of the progress that I made on reading some of those books. This is basically what the shelf looked like before I started reading this year. It's not exactly what it looked like. This is an older picture, so there were a few books in this picture that weren't there when I started this year, and there were a few books that were there after I took this picture that are not in this picture. But for the most part, this is what the shelf looked like. And now I'm about to show you guys what it looks like now. Okay, so for the most part, all of these piles of books that you see were piled up to the top of the next shelf. So I mainly was able to make quite a bit of headway in this pile. I didn't only read books from this pile, I read books from all the piles, but what I would do if I read, say, 2 or 3 books from this pile, I would take books from this pile and put them up here just to kind of give myself an idea of how much room I had left. My goal, if you recall, was to read one graphic novel every day or to try and eliminate one of the piles. Well, I still haven't eliminated any of the piles. I think part of that is because I bought 16 graphic novels in the middle of the month. But I'm still going to try and keep reading a decent amount, not nearly as much as I did in January. I will talk a little bit more about that later on in the video, but right now I just wanted to kind of show you guys what's going on with this shelf. This is the Daredevil pile. I don't read Daredevil right now, but I want to read Daredevil. The problem is, one, I would like to kind of read it all in one giant sitting. Maybe not, just back to back to back, but when I start this pile, I want to be able to just keep going and read a lot of Daredevil. And two, I don't have all of Daredevil. I think I've got 2 essential volumes here, and then I'm missing 3 of them. And there's a few trades in there that I don't have that are kind of just missing here and there. Over here, there's no real order to this pile. This is just a few DC books, a couple of indie books, I think 1 Marvel book. And then over here, there's several essential books and DC showcases in there. 2 novels. One of those I may read. It's The Lightning Thief. My sister said that it's a good book and that I should read it. I'm just so slow when I read prose that I don't know if I will ever get to it. The other one is Mockingjay. Mockingjay. If you recall, sometime like halfway through last year, I read and reviewed The Hunger Games. I read and reviewed The Hunger Games, and I read like the first chapter of the next book, which is Catching Fire. I just haven't gotten around to reading the rest of that book. I don't know if I'm ever going to read Mockingjay. I've heard everyone say that it's not nearly as good as the other books. I barely am able to read a book that people say is fantastic, much less a book that people say is terrible. So I don't know if I'm ever going to read Mockingjay. But those are there. This is a collection of Batman newspaper comics, so that's why it's a different size than everything else. And then over here, I've got a lot of X-Men books. These are all X-Men books, I think. Everything in that pile is X-Men related. Everything here is single issues. I don't believe that was there. You can go back and look at the picture at the beginning of this video, but I don't think this pile was there. A little ways into January, I took a whole bunch of Superman comic books that I had scattered throughout my room, and I put them sort of in an order. I realized that I had a bunch of those in trade, so I was able to take those out of the pile, and now I've got all of those in a pile. And then here, I don't think there's actually much of an order to the rest of these piles. This is just a variety of stuff, some Marvel, some DC, some indie. Then we got 3 more piles. There's a big one. And then here's a pile of essentials. And then this pile right here. There's some Fear Agent right there. I'm waiting to read Fear Agent once I have all of it in trade. And that's about all I have, guys. I think I've just got one or two other books that are not in this pile that I'm in the middle of reading. One book, actually, that's not in this pile. So, those are my unread graphic novels. Still looks like I haven't made a lot of progress at all, but I am making progress, believe it or not. So, now I'm going to tell you guys what my plans are for the month of February. So I've got a couple of ideas for things to kind of keep me on my toes throughout the rest of this year. My big challenge for January, as I said, was to read one graphic novel a day at least. I have a couple of other challenges in mind for the rest of this year. I don't know if it will last throughout the entire year, but we will see. My big idea for February, I have several books on those piles of books that you just saw that I am roughly halfway through and I just stopped reading. Most of those books were just really boring. I'm the kind of guy, if I see a book that's reasonably cheap and it looks interesting, I will buy it, even if I've never read anything in that book before. I know a lot of people, they won't buy a trade unless they've read all of the series that trade is collecting and they just really love that series. I don't buy single issues anymore, so I have no idea if a trade paperback is going to be good or not when I buy it. So I'm mostly just buying blind, and then I have no idea if what I'm about to read is going to be good or not. So several of those books, I'm thinking of about 5 right now. I'm about halfway through, a little less than halfway through, mostly because they were just really boring. So my goal is to read all of those for February. I don't know how long it will take me. I'm just going to devote most of my energy to reading those books. And if and when I do finish them, my secondary goal for February, if I do finish those books that I have in mind, is to try and finish reading various runs of famous comic book creators. For example, I'm a little over halfway done reading Walt Simonson's run on Thor. I have just a couple of issues of volume 4 of the Visionary series that I've read, and I would like to go ahead and finish his run on Thor. And then after that, I've got, I think, 1 volume of the George Perez Wonder Woman run that I haven't yet read. I read the first volume sometime back, and I've got the second volume, and I just haven't gotten around to reading that. So that will be my secondary goal for February. My first goal is to read all the books that I'm halfway done with. My second goal will be to try and finish up various runs that I am in the middle of. So basically, February is a month of trying to finish up stuff that I've already started. I've got some other ideas for later months of this year, but I will tell you guys those as the year progresses. So that's about all I have to talk about here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Let me know what you think. Do you want to congratulate me? If you don't want to congratulate me, that's also fine. I don't need the congratulations. I'll just sit here without congratulations. If you think I have way too many books, go ahead and tell me that in the comments below. I already know it to be a fact. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. So until then, I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day.